While the Hills were trying to adopt the 15 children, they were going to Oakdale, Long Island, to visit the cult founded by James Bernard Schafer. The name of the cult was the Royal Fraternity of the Master Metaphysicians. The association with the cult would cause trouble for the Hill couple, even though their active participation is under question. Come along with us as we walk through how the Hills came into contact with the cult. All aboard the Kentucky Tennessee Living Time Machine. Please fasten your seatbelts and keep your arms and legs inside of the vehicle at all times. But to get going, we need your help. We still need to fire up that time machine to transport us. Please help us by clicking on the like, subscribe, or bell notification buttons down below. Not only does this fire up the time machine for our flight back in time, but it convinces the YouTube algorithm that we need a bigger vehicle to reach more people who love history as much as you do. Now, back to our story. The Royal Fraternity of the Master Metaphysicians. The Royal Fraternity of the Master Metaphysicians was founded by James B. Schafer. In the 1920s, Schafer was flat broke. He came to New York sometime around 1930 and began the Master Metaphysicians. The stated goals of the group, according to Time, was, quote, the joyous work of the helping others to help themselves, unquote. In just a few years, Schaefer had accumulated a following of hundreds of people through his speeches every Sunday morning at Carnegie Hall. Very much a charismatic figure, Schaefer, like Napoleon Hill, would draw his materials and spiritual identity from the New Thought movement. His subject matter was on the spiritual potential hidden in the material world, that by simply using our minds, we could change everything around us. If you could think it, then those thoughts could become your reality. By the end of the decade, it was estimated that Schaefer had a following of close to 10,000 people. James Schaefer would go on to make some pretty remarkable claims. He boasted that he could dematerialize people or things that stood in his way. He was also a huge advocate for positive speech and thoughts as death and illness came from negative thoughts. But Schaefer would raise money by some notorious means. According to the source, Jean Gott, the immortal baby, quote, Schaefer grew quite wealthy. He raised his money by selling fellowship certificates for a minimum price of $100 apiece. These certificates were accompanied by checks signed by Schaefer and drawn on the inexhaustible bank of the infinite in the universal mind. They were dated eternal now and were payable in the currency of ideas and everything desired with no limitations. His followers could also give love offerings of $5. Children could join his cosmic network for which they could donate 1-cent stamps. Schaefer tried to shield his wealth by seeking tax-exempt status as a religious organization. However, the state Supreme Court ruled that there was nothing religious about his organization, quote, except possibly the solicitation and receipt of funds, unquote, and unquote. Peace Haven. The Royal Fraternity of the Master Metaphysicians in January of 1938 purchased with a backing of contributions a 2,500,800-acre, 110-room estate in Oakdale, Long Island, formerly the home of William K. Vanderbilt. They renamed the mansion Peace Haven. This gained local attention, as the group was seen as being odd and strange, but mostly harmless, as they were not seen as hurting anyone. The cult was making improvements to the property as they added an outdoor swimming pool and turning the mansion into a retreat for the metaphysicians. Again, according to Time, quote, there, in the Vanderbilting splendor, the members of the RF of MM, mostly middle-aged women, foregathered to live on a vegetable diet and listen to Mr. Schaefer's inspiring talk, unquote. In November 1939, the group would garner national attention with some rather strange views of mortality. They announced their intentions to raise an immortal person. The cult formally adopted a 5-month-old girl named Jean Gaunt. According to the source, Jean Gaunt, the immortal baby, quote, the infant was to live forever, was blue-eyed, red-haired Jean Gaunt. Her mother, New York City waitress Catherine Gaunt, had indicated that she was too poor to afford to raise Jean, so she gave Schafer permission to take charge of her. Catherine Gaunt was not a member of Schafer's organization, unquote. According to some sources, baby Jean was never formally adopted, but was only given permission for the group to take charge of her. The Immortality Experiment. Baby Jean Gaunt quickly became a national sensation. The group promoted that by raising Gaunt with a strict vegetarian diet and only positive thoughts, she would become truly immortal. It was their thought that anyone could become immortal if they thought hard enough about it. They set out to prove this experiment by starting with a baby girl. The metaphysicians strictly controlled every aspect of the child's life. According to Jean Gaunt, the immortal baby source, quote, baby Jean was given a private nursery where, in addition to a nurse who attended to her 24 hours a day, she was constantly watched over by Schafer's followers. The plan was to make her immortal by never allowing her to hear mention of death or disease, nor would she be exposed to any bad or destructive thoughts. No unkind words would ever be spoken in her presence. She would eat an all-vegetarian eternity diet. As she grew older, she would learn about alcohol, tobacco, coffee, tea, mustard, vinegar, and spices, but she would never consume any of them. She would receive constant instruction in the group's philosophy, becoming the embodiment of Schafer's belief that immortality, quote, can actually be achieved, not as a ghost or spirit, unquote. When she was old enough, she would assume control of the Royal Fraternity as its immortal leader, unquote. So it seems that Schafer and Hill basically had the same idea in mind. The only difference between them was Hill was going to use 15 5 to 9-year-old children, and Schafer was going to use one 5-month-old child. But all of the children would be raised in the same manner. E.J. Kahn Jr. visits Peacehaven. Curious about all the national attention, writer E.J. Kahn Jr. paid a visit to Peacehaven in 1940. He spent 24 hours with the cult and published this article about the observations in the March 16, 1940 issue of the New Yorker. Kahn gives a wonderful snapshot of what life was like for the members of the cult. Kahn, in his writings, did make the mistake of claiming that Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, was among the cult's most revered texts. He stated, quote, which was written by a member named Napoleon Hill, which many metaphysicians regard as sort of a gospel, unquote, as quoted by the source, The Untold Story of Napoleon Hill. What could have led to this misconception? What happened when Kahn was allowed to view baby Jean in her nursery? Schafer led Kahn to where Jean was being raised. According to the source, The Untold Story of Napoleon Hill, Kahn states the following. Quote, Kahn explains that the girl has big blue eyes, reddish hair, and is constantly under the care of the loyal nurse named Louise. Kahn goes on to mention that Schafer had brought a movie camera into the room. Apparently, Schafer was hoping to document every phase of Jean's development, and even suggested that the document should be put into a time capsule to somehow prove Jean's immortality after several generations have passed. Unquote. Kahn later states in the article, quote, as Kahn looked on, Schafer continued to film and had the nurse stand baby Jean up so that Schafer could capture the child in a variety of poses. Kahn notes that Schafer even had the baby pose, holding a copy of Think and Grow Rich, again misidentified in the article as Think and Get Rich, unquote. It is thought that since baby Jean was photographed holding Napoleon Hill's book, and since the cult itself widely regarded the writings of Napoleon Hill, that maybe they revered the book as a sort of Bible. But what Kahn had neither failed to write, or was not informed of the fact, was that Hill was the godfather to baby Jean. The source states that Napoleon and Rosalie were present at the occasion of baby Jean's first birthday. Even though Kahn did visit Peacehaven for 24 hours, it seems that in that time span, he did not get the full picture of what was happening behind closed doors. It seems that Schafer, like Hill, was good at hiding their true intentions. Even though Kahn was able to state that the cult was, quote, quirky but harmless, despite their get rich quick schemes. Their strange beliefs and vegetarianism may be naive, but could be tolerated. He mentions quickly sneaking away for a burger down the street after being fed some, quote, vegetable soup, sauerkraut, and mashed potatoes, a salad of lettuce, raw onions, and jello, unquote. It has been a common theme throughout history that when reporters or other people come to visit such cults, that they get a well-polished version of the story. After all, not only are the leaders charismatic, but they are also great at public relations. Several different cults have gained national attention through the use of the media. And like many before and after, the Master Metaphysicians' control of the situation would soon be lost to chaos. In next week's video, we will see how things begin to fall apart for the Master Metaphysicians as lawsuits begin to fly over money, and what would eventually happen to Schafer when his cult fell apart. Thank you. Kentucky Tennessee Living would like to thank you for watching our video series on the outstanding Appalachian people. Don't forget to hit that like button, as the more likes we receive, the more likely YouTube is to suggest our videos to other viewers. Also, to receive notice when we upload a new video, be sure to subscribe and click the bell notification button. We thank you for continuing to support Kentucky Tennessee Living as we're discovering the mysteries in Appalachian history.